Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video to show you how to change the battery in the iPhone 6 Plus. So the easiest way that I've found to open this phone up is to get a suction pry tool like this. It's just a little pry tool and it works so much better than using the other ones and just using suction cups on the front. Like these ones here, you can use these kind of like this, but I found it so much easier to use an actual tool like this. So the other thing we're going to be using is a little screwdriver, a Torx size 0, and also we're going to be using a Phillips screwdriver size 000. And I wanted to show you these, and I'll include links in the video description where you can find these tools if you're interested to work on this phone and to do this repair, and any parts that I'll be using during this repair, I'll include links in the video description for those as well, to be sure to check them out. So first, what you're going to want to do is power down your phone, make sure it's turned off, and then at the bottom right here there's 2 screws, and they're for the Torx that I was talking about, the size 0, and you're going to want to remove these 2 screws right here. So next, what you're going to want to do is take this pry tool and attach it as close to the home button as possible. If you have broken glass on here, what you can do is just put a piece of tape over it, and that'll take care of that, and then that'll have something to adhere to. And then so what you're going to want to do is just pry up a little bit. As you can see, I got it started already. And then what I would recommend is, mine was a little bit stubborn, so if you go right in here and just carefully, I had a little plastic pry tool and just carefully pried up here a little bit, then it started coming right apart. So next, what we're going to want to do is remove this suction cup tool. It's really easy to remove. Then we're going to want to pry up. I'll show you down in here. The next thing we're going to want to do, if you can see okay, is remove these 5 screws right here off this plate, and you're going to need the little Phillips screwdriver, and just make sure to keep them in the same order so you know which order they came off. So next, now that this connector is loose here, this plate, you can just grab it. I'm just going to use tweezers so you can see what I'm doing easily enough. And you just want to set that aside, and then I would recommend having a plastic pry tool so it for sure doesn't short anything out. And get under this connector right here, pry this connector up, and go ahead and pry this other connector up right there. And then if you lift these up, there's a 3rd connector right there. Underneath that, there's a 4th connector. So once you get all 4 of those connectors loose, as you can see there, then the whole screen comes apart, just like that. To change the battery, you will need to remove these 2 screws on this shield right here, which I already did. So then you can go ahead and just pull this shield off, and then grab something like this plastic pry tool or something so to remove the battery connector. And then, so if all goes well, what you should be able to do to remove the battery is these little pull tabs that are down here. You can peel it back one at a time. Then grab onto these tabs and pull. And just pull nice and steady. Hopefully they won't tear. It's really getting stretched. It can stretch out to almost 18 inches by the time it's done. So then what I would recommend is grabbing the other outside one first, leave the middle one for last. And just grab it and pull. Nice and steady. Yeah, it can stretch out to almost 2 feet long by the time you're done. Then next, you want to grab this middle one here, and same thing, you just want to pull it right out. And as you can see, the battery is lifting up. So you should be able just to grab it. I'm just going to grab something like this and pry under it. And the battery comes out just like that. Now if you have trouble with these things breaking or anything, what you can do is apply a little heat to the backside of the case, and you can see these things just come up wadded up like this. But what you can do is just apply some heat to the backside of this and then just carefully pry up. You can start with something, if you're trying to save the battery, you can just, you know, kind of pry around this side and this side. And if you're not, you can just go ahead and pry away however, but just be careful you don't, you know, damage anything. Just go really carefully and slow. Just apply a little more heat if necessary. But what I would say is you could use like a credit card or something thin and go under it, or if you have some kind of plastic or any kind of pry tools like this. I would recommend plastic. This is a metal one I have, but it's wider. But just keep working it. I would say maybe try like a tar pick even, if you can get under it a little bit, and just keep working it, and then it should come out. So now what I'm going to use is just some adhesive like this. It's not as wide as what I'd like, but I'm just going to put some more strips of it on. I'll include links in the video description where you can find this adhesive tape if you're interested in it, because this other adhesive just isn't reusable, so I'll show you once I'm done. So yeah, since my adhesive tape isn't very wide, I had to put quite a few strips on here. I probably wouldn't have had to do that many, but I just wanted to make sure that there's plenty in there. So now that we are all set, if you've had to do this, let's go ahead and set our new battery back in. Just set it down there. Make sure the battery's connected. Make sure to press it down really firmly like that. Put this shield back on. Go ahead and put those two screws back in. So to reinstall the screen, just grab the screen and just use your fingers or whatever you want to use. I'm going to use my fingers, hopefully you can see okay. And just start with the big connector and just kind of work your way down. The big connector of course goes first all the way towards the front, the top, and then the next one goes next in line. And then just do them kind of in order as they come down. And then this connector goes over there, and then this connector goes on the bottom. And you can feel once they all pop in securely. Then you grab your shield and set it right down on there. And go ahead and put your 5 screws back in. If it's a lot easier to put these screws back in, you can turn this screen carefully like this and start doing these outside ones. And then without turning it too far to get to the last ones, then you can, once that plate is pretty much where it won't move, then you can put the last ones in like that. So then next what you will want to do is just grab your screen, and there's little notches at the top here. Get those started in first. Then you can just start pressing your screen in till it's down all the way. And then lastly, put your 2 screws back in the bottom down here with the Torx screwdriver. And you're all set. Thanks for watching.